I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we explore Heather Hogan Holt's captivating debut novel. It is called Finding Emelia, The Quest. This gripping tale follows young Emelia as she navigates the darkness following a brutal divorce in a kingdom of light and beauty. Join us as we uncover her ordained quest by the king, leading her to the brink of mind, body, and spirit, and the potential healing her soul desperately seeks. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. We ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Heather, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
This is quite an imaginative story. How did you come up with the idea for Finding Emelia, The Quest?
The book was actually written because my goddaughter asked me to. I don't know what prompted her, but she did. And she said, you can write about all our adventures together. In our situation, she's the daughter of one of the caregivers my husband had after a major surgery. And we found out they were in a difficult living situation. They came to live with us. And so I told my husband, I said, we don't really have any adventures other than navigating her emotional landscape. And he said, well, write about those, but turn it into fantasy.
Wow.
So that's what I did.
Wonderful, wonderful. Give us an overview, give the folks at home an overview of what the story is about.
Story is about a young girl in this fantastical society on the planet of Oriacon. They have what amounts to a fantastical bat mitzvah, a coming of age for the young girls and boys. And while she's right before hers, the king has decided to send her on a quest to find some things, but it's really to find herself.
Wonderful. That's very well said. Very well. I thought you were going to get more into the story, but that is to the point.
I'm sorry.
For sure. No, that's great. It's good to be to the point, because we want to leave something for the viewer to read when they order your book, because it's such a great read. Now, is this going to be part of a series? Because it seems like this is the quest and that there's going to be more.
Yes, I just spoke to my illustrator actually this past Saturday, and we're laying the foundations now to turn it into a trilogy.
Awesome. And do you have working titles for those other books yet?
I do, but I'm not sharing them yet.
Okay, that's fine. Absolutely. Now, I'm glad you brought up your illustrator, because these books are illustrated beautifully. Tell us about that collaboration.
That is, my illustrator is my first goddaughter, who's now a mother of 3 herself.
Wonderful.
And she helped with part of the book. She actually named the imparting in the book, because she had done one of her own. And when we were talking about it, she said, well, you know my style. Would you like me to illustrate for you? And I was blown away, because she is an extremely talented artist, and everything is by hand, colored pencil. It took her a very long time, but well worth it.
Absolutely. Now, is this the same goddaughter who asked you to create the story?
No, this is the earlier one. I have 2. Okay. No children of my own, but I have 2 goddaughters.
Well, you got great goddaughters. That's wonderful, because they're spurring you along in creative ways, and you're collaborating with them, which is wonderful. That's really, really terrific. Have you envisioned this as an animated series, perhaps?
I think that would be really fun.
Yeah.
I would have no idea how to go about it, but especially to see the cat in action, the furry sidekick as he is, I think would be absolutely delightful.
And I think you've already started on that first path, which is to create the work, put it out there, and hopefully it winds up in the right person's hands. It's always like a message in the bottle when it comes to show business. So you never know. Somebody at Hulu could see it. Somebody at Netflix could see your book, see this interview, and they'll say, hey, this would be a terrific story. Let's make it. And so hopefully you get that call or that email. That would be terrific for sure.
I would love it.
So this was your first time writing a book, right?
Yes. Yeah. I've done magazine and newspaper work before, but never any sort of book.
Okay. And who's your target audience for the book?
I had originally envisioned as a children's book, and the feedback that has come back to me is better like 11 through young teens. that it was a little bit above, so like as a true children's book.
Right. No, I
So
think
I
if
would
a
say,
parent was reading it to their child, they could explain some of the concepts and some of the words. But if a child's going to read it on his or her own, then probably like a tween or a teen, that would work best, right?
that is perfect. Yes.
Yeah. Sounds great. Sounds great. Tell us a little bit about the role of the king and his part in Amelia's quest.
This is, though, a fantastic looking, and this is a Christian allegory.
Hmm.
Um, as you see through the quest, and the king is the father God figure.
Shit. And that's why he sends her on what is almost like a scavenger hunt, but it's really a hunt to find herself and find redemption,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, absolutely. How do you hope readers will connect with Amelia's story and the themes of resilience and redemption?
I hope people would take a step back, especially if there's a kid maybe who's been through a divorce or a hard time. So many do these days, and know that maybe these hard times were set there for a reason. You're called to something higher. They're testing you, but the testing is not without purpose. It's not to harm you, it's to help you.
Exactly, exactly. God generally doesn't give you what you can't handle, so that's part of it as well. And tell us about Amelia's journey, the challenges she faces during her quest.
She faces physical challenges. She faces her own dark side, as it were. She sees really the ugliest part of herself in one of the second or third quests, and realizes where she kind of needs to break in order to be made whole.
Sure. Now, I know you don't want to give away the working titles yet, but can you tell us a little bit of what the other two books that you're working on might be about?
It will continue her journey. Um, I will say that this quest was basically thrust upon her. Her next battle she has to fight, she will choose, and it will be to help basically protect the kingdom. I haven't worked all those details out. And the third one I will give away will be Finding Emelia Coming Home.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Tell us about writing this book. Was it just inspired and the words flowed, or did you get up every morning at 5 a.m. and toil for hours? Tell us a little bit about that.
I I had to do it piecemeal by piecemeal. It
Mhm.
to me, the reader may not notice it, but there are actual sections, or there were in my
Mhm.
head, and I gave myself a 3 month deadline. However many pages it was going to be, I made myself. I wanted to have it ready for Christmas for her. I didn't,
Right.
but I gave myself 3 months. Um, and there was a lot of walking around the neighborhood. I cook for a living, so you chop your ingredients first. You do this. I'm a step by step person, so I broke it into pieces and gave myself section deadlines. And then, okay, the first quest is going to be done by this day, worked all the emotions through it. Sometimes I had to Google different psychological concepts, believe it or not, but that was, I don't know how more seasoned authors do it, but that worked for me.
Well, I think that sounds great. It's funny because you mentioned you're a chef, and that gave you an orderly fashion with which to proceed in creating the book. During a period of unemployment in his life, Harrison Ford was a carpenter. And he said that routine of building in a certain pattern, in a certain order, and following different rules helped him as an actor
Oh, wow.
because it helped him create a character. So I think there is a methodology in the creative process, whether it's writing or acting or whatever it is. So I think you're onto something there. In fact, that might be a book for you down the road. The chef's guide to writing a terrific novel, right?
There we go.
Breaking it down
Recipes
to its
included.
exactly, and breaking down to its essential ingredients, which is what we all try to do. So you've got the bug now. You've written this first book. Have you had the chance to read it to any children, perhaps?
Only my goddaughter.
Okay. How old's your goddaughter?
She's 12.
Okay, great. That's perfect age. It's just for her. So your
Right.
12-year-old goddaughter is the one who spurred you on to write the book.
Correct.
And then once you wrote the book, you read it to her. Awesome. And you wanted to get it ready for Christmas to give to her as a Christmas present?
I did. I was late, so it became birthday.
Okay, well that's close enough. That's good. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, the book is amazing. It is called Finding Emelia, The Quest. It is a gripping tale that follows young Amelia as she navigates the darkness following a brutal divorce in a kingdom of light and beauty. In the book, you will uncover her ordained quest by the king, which is a Christ allegory, and it leads her to the brink of mind, body, and spirit, and the potential healing her soul desperately seeks. It's a wonderful book. It's beautifully illustrated. It's going to be part of a trilogy, but start with this one, then get the next, and the next, and hopefully you'll be turning on Netflix before long and watching it there as well. Heather, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.